Good morning, happy Sunday. So today there's two stories, one of which is changing rapidly in the news today. And the first story really is the one about the Soutar family. And this is about Laura Soutar, who's been working in Dubai. She's 27, from Scotland. And under the rules that have been laid down by the government, the UAE is on the red list. Now, Laura is fully vaccinated. This means that she is supposed to spend 10 days in a government-approved hotel in quarantine. Now, the story gets interesting because her father, Iain Soutar, who's 64, is dying with terminal cancer and has only days to live. And he wants to give his daughter a final hug before he dies. So one way round this that Laura has negotiated is to go via Mallorca, where she is at the moment. And she should arrive in the UK on Tuesday. Now, even that may be too late. Now, in the mix here comes the current health minister in Scotland, who's a man I've had dealings with in the past, a man called Humza Yousaf. He seems to be a person, I don't share his politics at all, but I do share his sense of humanity, and he's tried to overrule the system and said that he doesn't normally interfere in this sort of issue, but in this case there should be a review, and speedily. Now, so there you've got an example. I worry that that this won't be sorted out in order in time to change Laura's plans. If she were to immediately come over from Mallorca, she would have to start a 10-day quarantine again in a government-approved hotel from the moment she arrives in Heathrow. There is madness to this, and the madness is sort of demonstrated rather well by the other story which hit the news yesterday, really, and today, today. So I'll go through it because when I thought I'd make this little video, there was one story. Now there's a slightly different story. So yesterday we learnt that Sajid Javid, the new health secretary, has tested positive with COVID. His symptoms apparently are mild. He's feeling a little groggy, as are we all. We also know, because there's television footage of it, that Sajid Javid was sitting next to the Prime Minister in the House of Commons. Sajid Javid has been hobnobbing with all the main ministers in Parliament. So basically, Sajid Javid's COVID test means the entire top strata of government is out of action for 10 days. They're all self-isolating, or at least they should. And what we learnt today was that the Prime Minister and Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, were going to take advantage of a new workplace pilot scheme that 20 companies, including number 10, are signed up to trial. And this means that instead of self-isolating, they will take a lateral test every day. So they won't self-isolate. So if that is available for a small group of people, then it should be automatically available without question for someone like Laura Soutar. Now, the writing really is on the wall, as surely as any finger in the book of Daniel. We've got one law for us and another law for them. It's so clear. And what I don't understand is how these people can be so smug to even think this would work. So there's been a U-turn which was announced in the last 30 minutes by the housing minister. I don't understand how they wheel out people like Hunt and the housing minister when they can't, when the people who are actually the grandees can't actually get in front of a camera. They love the camera at any other time. So we've got Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick, he sounds like a second-rate character from a Trollope novel. A bit of Trollope is wheeled out to say there's been a U-turn and they will in fact do their isolation. Now, you might then turn around and say, yeah, okay, everything's back to normal. I'm afraid that means that there is an absolute decision about Laura Soutar, and that's not positive. Well, yeah, except that the government ministers have already been caught out. Because Michael Gove, he who is of no consequence at all, except for the fact that he's divorcing his wife, Sarah Vine, and there are, I hear rumours, so I presume they're running around the place. Who's interested in Michael Gove? I'm not interested in Michael Gove until now. Until now, this man, well, I've drawn him a number of times, and he's actually quite easy to draw. I must root out one of the drawings and post it for you. But Michael Gove, who always looks as if he's punched. When you look at Michael Gove, doesn't he look as if he's just been punched in the stomach? He always looks surprised. He has a permanent state. Well, he should do. He should do, because he is the person who undermines all the efforts of the PR brigade and of Robert Jenrick and these people, because he participated in this work pilot. So in June, he was pinged by the Test and Trace app that so many people are removing from their phone now, that so many people are ignoring, because apparently you can be pinged if your neighbour in another house next door to you has got it, who you've never seen. This is nonsensical, because it's not based on reality. It's based on some sort of it's based on some sort of GPS nonsense, and we know how badly GPS can sometimes work. So Michael Gove, instead of self-isolating when he was pinged, decided to participate in this new work trial, and he took the lateral tests every day in June and did not self-isolate. So we know it's possible. So similarly, this is the time. Humza Yousaf should not be left out to dry, waiting for a review. It should happen like that. And I think we should get Michael Gove to conduct that review. It's time we were governed by people with sense and compassion. There are certain things which overrule rules. Compassion and kindness is one of them. I remember a story about the Orthodox bishop in Oxford, Callistos, and apparently he was faced with a plate of duck during Lent, and some lady next to him leant over and said, "Oh, but that's duck. Surely you shouldn't eat duck during Lent." And he says, "Well, it swims in water, so we may consider it to be a fish." But the principle that he was following, I think, is very good, and it's very important on a Sunday, that the principle of kindness, the principle of hospitality, accepting and giving hospitality, the principle of good manners, the principle of compassion overrules everything. And I think there shouldn't even be any question about Laura Soutar and her family. Just compassion. And if Boris and Sunak and these people don't have that, then maybe it's time for them to resign en masse. Now, I hasten to add, there's a man called Douglas Ross. Douglas Ross is the leader of the Conservatives in Scotland, and he has called the government heartless with respect to the